Hey guys, so I thought I would actually show some of my terrible first drafts of my comic Purgatory. I started working on this about a year ago, and there's some things that I don't show to the public because they're terrible, and this was kind of before I understood character proportions, and before I kind of even knew what I wanted to do with the comic. So let me just show you. I kind of wiped out all of the existence of this comic, mostly because it embarrasses the crap out of me, and I hate it. So, yeah. Basically, the premise of Purgatory is that, Simon, the main character, basically has a religious cult family, and he finally meets somebody outside of his family and religious group, and it kind of changes him for the worst. Okay, as you can see, these first pages, they're bad. Yeah, they're not great, but the coloring's nice. I think the coloring is not bad. Good job, old me. Although you will see that it will progressively get shittier and shittier, and the proportions make no sense. Like, there was no planning here. Nowadays I actually use a small sketchbook, here it is, where I thumbnail each page as to what I'm going to do. And it helps drive the story along a lot faster and easier when you have an idea as to what you're going to do. So, when you make comics, please use thumbnails. Don't do this. This is terrible. And I will show you a comparison side by side in a minute. A lot of the issues I had initially was not knowing how to place the word, the word boxes and the word balloons. This is because, no one ever told me, like, what is the appropriate amount of words to page. I don't really like it when comics have tons of words all over it. It really kind of bothers me. Like this is the most words I would have on a page. So yeah. Also, the first part of this is hand lettered, and then as it goes on, I actually do it digitally. So, yeah. And then I just wiped out this whole comic because it's terrible. Although certain pages, the composition is nice, and I'm actually going to keep some of the composition for the newer pages. The ones where I redo it. Yeah. There's also a lot of story elements that I change later on. As you can see, I like a lot of full-page, blowout, non-panel things, because I never knew how to use panels correctly. But I also like that as well. You might notice the colors are red, white, gray, black. That was supposed to be kind of symbolic of, you know, Nazi colors, because that's what Simon feels at the beginning, because he feels like he's in some sort of cult that's not exactly good, and then later on more colors would be introduced as he starts to feel less like that. But that's stupid, and I can't pull that off very well. Especially not with marker, because this is all done in marker. If I did that digitally, I feel like it would actually work, but I've since then wiped out that whole concept, and it's just in black and white now. Yeah. Here I would actually write, what I was going to put, but then I would go in and change it in Photoshop with the handmade text I did. So as shitty as this was, I actually spent a lot of time on it. And a lot of these pages, I changed digitally. Like, the floor right here would I'll put a picture of it right here so you can actually see it, but it had red instead of the black color. So I would change some of these colors around, like the outlines. Here you can see me introduce the first new colors besides red, black, and gray, which is green. Which is a shitty thing to do because, hey, those are complementary colors, aka it's going to look like Christmas. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I don't know, I'm freaking stupid. Yeah. And that is where I decided to stop with this comic and, you know, redo it because it is not good. Yeah. Some of the things, I actually had a cover page as well. Some of the things I think are very nice. Like the coloring, I think was pretty good. I don't think I'm a bad colorist. I think I was a bad person with panel arrangement. I'm still not great, but I was especially terrible at proportions. So now I'm going to show you the current comic book. In the current one, I ink the line art and then I bring it into Photoshop, add the lettering, add the gray tone. So this is only going to be the black and white comparison to this. So hold on. Okay. So there's the first page compared to the first page. Not much change. There's the second page compared to the second page. As you can see in this one, there's a much more understanding of proportion here. Damien actually looks like a human being, like a figure, as opposed to just like this weird blob. So I kind of like that. Third page to third page here. The lighting's a lot better. Simon's proportions are obviously readable from one page to the next. This is the one where you see it pretty bad. Because his head is about a torso and a half. Whereas it's slightly more proportioned. He has a big head, granted, but not that big. What the hell? Yeah. And this is where the story kind of veers off because I'm trying to make it so it flows nicer. Because I semi-know what I'm talking about. So now you actually see him go back to his desk as opposed to just front of the classroom, back of the classroom. Now you see that there's other people in the classroom. I didn't understand that at first. I'm dumb. And then there is the side-by-side of this shot. It's actually kind of different because I don't have this section take place here. I have it in the previous page here. So you see that? And then I made a full sweep because I still like the full sweep pages. I just, you can't use them for every page. And then the whole comic from here on is different. There's a lot more talking, and there's better pacing, I think. And yeah, here's the current pages that I'm working on, So, yeah, basically, I wanted to make this because to show people that comics take work and comics take skill that you might not have thought about initially. Some of the things that I didn't even consider were like, of course I know how to draw my character. No, you don't. You don't know how to draw your character, especially not on model. You need to, like, really, really draw them before you ever start a comic. You need to know that character front and back before you're able to draw him perfectly, or her, or whatever. That's why you make model sheets. Granted, I made one here in this. Let me go to it. But this model sheet is too... It's not good enough, okay? This is a bad model sheet. Like, you can't exactly... I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great. You can't see the proportions very well. If I were to make this now, I would have Simon's head be, you know, I would have measurements here. And references of, like, different poses, which I did here, but not very well. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to show was another comic I'm working on. Oh wait, it's not in here. It's in here. Another comic I'm working on. This one won't be released for a while because it's going to be a webcomic, but it's a little hard to... It's gonna take me a while working on 2 projects at once, basically. But yeah, as you can see, my inking abilities have changed. I think I've somewhat understood how to ink now. Not a lot, but a little bit. And this is going to be a comedy. Yeah. So, a lot can change in 2 years. And your art should change. And if you feel like you need to restart a comic book, way your options are, since I was only a couple pages in, well, I was like 20 pages in, but no, that's no different. If you're only a couple pages in your comic and it doesn't represent your ability, then I think you should restart. Because I would rather restart and be proud of the final product than not restart and have a shitty comic. Yeah. If you want more comic videos, I could talk about them later, but this is what I got. Thank you.